Hello, and welcome to your South King County real estate update. Today is May 21st. My name's Sarah Eggleston with Stone Egg Realty at John L. Scott, and I am super excited to bring you the weekly real estate news each Friday right here live on Facebook. Replays are available on other channels. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button so you see these videos in the future. Okay, so I'll go ahead and jump into the slides. So as I said before, this is your South King County real estate update. My name is Sarah Eggleston, and let's find out what happened this week. So coming up this Monday, I am sold out of my materials provided tickets, at least online. Double check with me. I might have an extra easel available. I have somebody who may or may not participate. So let me know if you're interested. I may be able to squeeze you in, but you'll have to contact me directly. Ticket sales are no longer going on for the materials through Eventbrite. However, there are a couple spots available if you want to provide your own materials and log in. And that is the 25th, so Tuesday at 6 p.m. So what happened this week? So I'm not really going to talk about one specific story this week. It's more of a couple people that I talked to, just conversations that I've had with other real estate agents in the industry. So I'm starting to hear a little bit about fewer offers being coming in on homes, just the very tips of it. And it depends on the style of home and where the home is located, obviously. But we are starting to hear more about homes that are going through their open house weekend. I talked to an agent from my office earlier this week. He had hosted an open house in kind of the Skyway, Bryn Mawr area last weekend. And at the end, at the review date, they didn't have any offers. And it was, between in the $500,000 price point, $500,000 to $600,000 price range. And usually in that area, those types of homes were getting snatched up. So this might be the very tip of like a little spark for buyers, a little easing up on the multiple offers. But I am hearing more about multiple offers in like the 3 to 4 offer range rather than like the 10 to 25 offer range like we were a couple months ago. So it seems like there's maybe a few buyers that have gotten a little bit fatigued, dropping out of the race. I definitely have heard of some people having buyers that they put in a lot of offers and didn't get anything accepted, and they're kind of over it at this point. They're like, okay, we're going to take a break, reassess the situation, and once we've had a little rest, jump back in. So I've heard of that from a number of different agents, and as far as fewer multiple offers coming in on listings, and having some buyers get fatigued and dropping out. So we'll see how much that affects the market going forward. But I definitely am starting to see the very tip of the iceberg on softening for buyers. So if you are preparing your home to list, I do recommend that you get on that as quickly as possible if you want to catch this market. Although I think it'll be a strong buyer's market through at least the rest of the year, probably in the next year. But right now is just insanely hot for buyers, or insanely hot for sellers. But buyers, we're starting to see a little twinkle of the light at the end of the tunnel. So I will go ahead and jump back into the slides. So, this is the skyrocketing lumber prices has been quite a story. Um, it was a story in 2020, but especially since the new year, we've been hearing a lot about rising lumber costs. So, um, this is, I mean, of course, on a national scale, and there's just, it's in Seattle, our housing market is so hot that even the increased costs associated with building, um, it's not really slowing buyers down much. So this is interesting to see because lumber has gone up significantly um, since the beginning of the year. So, oh yeah, and then 1 in 5 home sales in the Seattle area is new construction. They're building as fast as possible. We still have a lot more older homes. And I really wanted to share this chart. It is very telling of what is happening on the cost. You can see it goes back to 2010. We're kind of just inching along, and staying pretty steady on our lumber costs until 2020. And then we rock it up, drop a bit, and then rock it back up again. And it's just the, I mean, this graph just shows how significant the change is for lumber prices in just this year, the whole, whew. So that is shocking. Um, so why is this happening? There is a number of reasons, and a lot of it's supply chain, but it's all levels of the supply chain. So there are some mills that shut down at the beginning of the pandemic and either got started up right away or had to re-shut down because of sicknesses. There's just been a lot of hold up at the mill, and that goes for trucking too. Like every level has had um labor issues, just people getting sick and not being able to work on a, it's it's a pretty massive scale if you look at all these different tiers. So there is a lot more demand as well, since housing demand has just exploded. How's the demand for lumber has exploded too, because most homes use a fair amount of lumber to build. Plus, people have sit at home during the pandemic when people are spending more time at home and can't go out and do things. A lot of people spent time fixing up their home and making the most of what they had. So there were a lot of projects that went down. People were building decks and fences and just a lot of other projects that people were working on during this time. So there was a lot of people at the beginning of the pandemic. A lot of the mills cut back on their labor too. They cut back on labor and production because of what happened during the Great Recession. In the Great Recession, in 2008, 9, 10, we had an excess of homes. We had built too many leading up to that time period. And since that time, we really haven't built, we haven't maintained that kind of pace at all or gotten anywhere near it. Our population has grown, and homes degrade and become unusable, and we just haven't seen the replacement of that inventory since the Great Recession. So a lot of the mills thought when the pandemic happened, people are going to lose their jobs and it's going to be the Great Recession all over again. So they kind of cut production, and it was the opposite. Demand for their product increased significantly, and now they're behind trying to play catch up. Yeah, as I said, so here's the home bodies working on remodeling projects. They helped. Prices of 2x4s and similar products have tripled from a year ago. The price of oriented strand board, which is is about 8 times higher than it was a year ago. And this person said that works in this lumber supply place that people are just sucking it up and buying what they came in for anyway, taking big gulp, going, wow, that was more than I expected, and buying it anyway. So it's interesting to see that. So and we do expect that once supply increases, prices will go back down, but we don't know how long that'll be. So King County also this past week and launched a new help for tenants who are behind on their rent. And I put the application link. Renters can apply for help at this rent-help.kingcounty.gov down on the bottom of the screen here. So if you are a renter that is looking for assistance with rent that you might be behind on, go to this link, check it out. There are programs available. Renters must live in King County and have an income of less than $40,500 for an individual or 58 for a family of 4, and must prove hardship. And the funding will essentially be selected through a lottery. So go ahead and apply if you're in that situation, and hopefully you get your little extra help. But also there is funding for that landlords can pay for. So if you are a landlord that has tenants that are not paying their rent right now, you can apply as well. And about 11% of homes surveyed in the greater Seattle area are behind on their rent, according to this recent survey. And I feel like I was going to say something else. But yeah, the good portion of the rent is going to be sent out through what the landlords apply for. I think it was 60% of the funds. I'm not quite sure on that number, but I know the vast majority of these funds are going to be landlord initiated. But you can initiate this help whether you're a renter or a landlord. So whatever side of that you're on, you can reach out and apply for help. So U.S. home sales fell most recently for the third straight month in a row, but that's mainly due to the lack of inventory available. Existing home sales fell 2.7% last month from March to a seasonally adjusted rate of 5.85 million annualized units. But sales jumped through 33.9 from April of last year. But remember, that was when the pandemic was in full effect and pretty much everything was shut down. So there was a lot less happening during that time. So yeah, it's the combination of the lack of homes and buyer demand that's driving up prices. There's a lot of competition. I must admit that this is something that we're still seeing. I know I said it was softening up a little bit, but that's just like the very, very initial telltale signs. We are still in a very heated market. So low inventory is fueling a huge increase in prices, which is pricing some people out of the market, or as I said, the buyers are getting fatigued of putting in offers and not getting them accepted. So these are nationwide numbers, but there is an average of 17 days on the market nationwide, which is just, I mean, it's so much lower in our area, but 17 days for nationwide is incredibly low compared to last year when it was 27 days. And 88% of homes sold in April were on the market for less than a month. So I announced last week announcing that Inslee had announced that all counties go to phase 3 May 18th. That did happen this past week. And there was new guidance regarding masks announced. And just like less than 2 hours after I did my show, I got this email. And it was a correction to the FAQ document that I had just shared. So I'm here to correct that. So Washington has adapted the masking guidance issued by the CDC, allowing for fully vaccinated people to no longer wear a face covering with certain limitations. The Washington State Department of Labor and Industries is working to provide guidance for businesses that choose to allow fully vaccinated people to not wear a face covering. Please look for updated information on this issue soon. So, for now, in real estate, in our industry, we haven't been given any guidance for no mask wearing yet, whether you're fully vaccinated or not. So we need to follow the phase 3 protocols that were set out. And again, that is in-person activities must be by appointment only. Face coverings must be worn at all times by all people involved in the real estate industry. So appraisers, inspectors, photographers, clients, and real estate brokers, everybody. No more than 10 people in addition to the broker on site at one time, and those people must follow strict social distancing guidelines, remaining 6 feet apart at all times. So just to clarify, in real estate, we are still masking until further guidance is given. And that brings us to our market stat minute. So we had in King County 1,075 new listings in the past 7 days, 1,224 pending, and 965 sold. So you can see our pending listings is going up here in our region. Those articles that I was talking about with the pending listings going down, or sold listings going down, that was national numbers. So our pending listings in this area did go up this week. And our new listings did kind of tick down. So I expect our pending sales next week to tick down because we have fewer new listings coming on this week. And for North America showings, you can see that we did tick down slightly from where we were last week on our showing traffic, our key access data. So this is in line with what we saw for our national numbers. And last week we had an interest rate of 2.94 for our weekly average. And this week we have a little bit of a rise to 3%. But again, this is a weekly average that's taken. Most people turn the survey in on Monday, but they can turn it in anytime Monday through Wednesday. So take this number with a grain of salt because it's usually a Monday to Monday comparison. And just to point on this, there were a lot of articles that I came across this week that were very worrisome articles about inflation. I think a lot of these are blowing it out of proportion because of the year-over-year data, but it is supposedly the year-over-year is increasing the fastest rate since 2008. But think about where we were a year ago. So take this with a grain of salt. All these inflation articles that are like freaking out. Hold off and we'll see what happens as we go forward. Don't panic yet. And I wasn't able to get the mortgage rate for today. This website is usually updated much earlier in the day. So this is for yesterday. We were at 3.16, which was down 0.02 from Wednesday. All right, so if you have any questions, please reach out. I would love to hear from you. If there's anything you'd like to see on my show, let me know. Any questions, I would love to clarify that for you. These shows are for you, if the people that watch it. So whatever I can do to make this show more applicable to you and your situation and what you're interested in, just let me know. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me again. I'm Sarah Eggleston with Stone Egg Realty at John L. Scott. And this has been your South King County real estate update for May 21st. I will see you next Friday back here at 3 p.m. Have a great week.